Hey guys, welcome back to another guide video. Today's video, we're going to be talking about Isida. Now, huge disclaimer before I start the video. Stuff is still subject to change since metaships happen pretty often in Tanki Online, so things might change over the course of a few years. Let's first talk about Isida's damage and range. Isida's damage is 1160 HP per second, and healing wise it is 400 per tick. Now the minimum range for Isida is 0 meters, the maximum range is 25 meters. At minimum and maximum range, the damage stays the same all throughout the duration of fire. Quick notes to remember when you're playing with Isida. Unlike Firebird and Freeze, Isida does not increase or decrease damage depending on the range. For example, the closer you are, the more damage you do with Firebird and Freeze, and the further you are, the less damage you do. Isida has none of it. Isida also has a very small chance per tick to get a critical healing tick. It's the only turret in Tanki Online that's base weapon could both heal allies and also be used as an attack weapon. Unfortunately, for the past 6 years, this weapon has straight up not been in the meta, and I'm hoping that the developers look at this video and maybe change Isida, maybe damage wise, maybe increase the range of it to make it a little bit more better and be able to compete with Firebird and Freeze and Tesla. Let's talk cost to upgrade. Upgrading from MK0 to MK7 costs a total of 397,000 crystals and 33 rubies. It costs an additional 456,000 to go from MK7 level 0 to MK7 level 20, so in total it costs a total of 853,000 crystals and 33 rubies. At 30% discount if you do the math, it's a total of 597,000 crystals. At 50% discount if you do the math, it is 426,000 crystals. Let's talk about drones. The best drones to use for Isida are Defender, Booster, and Hyperion. Hyperion is universally good for every turret, so I won't glaze it. But for Booster, it's better when you're healing allies since the boosted damage does equal more healing. So if you have Booster drone and your double boosted damage is taking place, the healing is also increased. While Defender is really good for survivability since if you're using it as an attack, it's super good for 1v1 situations. Now let's talk about arguments. For this turret specifically, I'm going to be using separate arguments for two sections. One for best healing arguments and best attacking weapons, both free to play and pay to win. Let's first talk about the healing arguments because that's what the turret does. The best arguments for healing as a pay to win player is sustained nanobots. The range of this argument is increased by 60%. The energy consumption while healing is negative 50%. The only disadvantage is that the cone angle is at negative 60% and the energy consumption while attacking is plus 50%, which means that you drain more if you attack. The best free-to-play argument for Isida when it comes to healing is support nanobots. The main advantage is that your regular and critical healing chance is increased by 100%, and the only disadvantage is that your regular normal damage is decreased by 50%. Let's now switch on if you were using Isida as an attack weapon. The best pay-to-win arguments for Isida are Vampire Nanobots and Pulsar. For Pulsar, after hitting an enemy with a critical shot, the following status apply: Jammer, EMP, Stun, and AP. But the main disadvantage is that your critical chance is decreased by 30% and your critical damage is also decreased by 90%. For Vampire Nanobots, it recovers your own HP by 35% based on the damage per tick. The main disadvantage is that your critical hits are removed and basically you can no longer heal your allies because the healing is only 1 HP per tick. Now if you don't have these two pay to win arguments, the best alternate pay to win arguments are magnetic and toxic nanobots for Isida. For both arguments, when you do hit a critical shot, you will apply either EMP if you're using magnetic, or for toxic mix you would apply AP, and the main disadvantage is that your critical damage is decreased by 50%. Now let's finally talk about the best free-to-play arguments if you were attacking. The best free-to-play arguments for Isida are Adrenaline and Nanomass Reactor. For Nanomass Reactor, every time you kill an enemy, your energy is increased by 50%, but the main disadvantage is that your energy consumption while attacking is increased by 20%. And finally, for Adrenaline, your regular and critical damage is increased up to 26%. The main disadvantage is that it's mostly effective at lower HP, and this effect is also disabled when a freeze does freeze you. Quick tip for Nanomass Reactor: if you want this augment to do well, you're gonna have to pick your enemies accordingly. So go for easier enemies if you want to shoot for longer. Let's talk about hulls. The best hulls, in my opinion, for Isida are Viking, Palicringe, Hunter, and Crusader. Basically all the medium hulls. Hulls I wouldn't recommend are the light ones, but they are still playable. And if you do want to rage quit the game, I would highly recommend going for those big buff Mexican hulls. And that wraps up my Isida guide for Tanki Online. If you have any questions, do ask in the comments down below. I'll see you guys all in another video. Peace out.